Hello, guys. Welcome to Aslan Speaks. And today I want to talk about or share with you guys the law of one material, or also known as the raw material. And I'm not an expert in this, in the raw material or the law of one material. I just want to, if you are seeking enlightenment or awakening, or just trying to find more wisdom or knowledge or insight, um, the law of one is very informative. And you could find, if you type in the law of one book or the raw material or the law of one book by Raw on YouTube, you can find like people who share information on it. I'm also, the person that I follow a lot is Brian Scott, the Revolution Radio or something like that. Brian Scott, he does a good job where he breaks down the book Law of One books and explains certain topics. And then if you really want to like understand it, there's a guy on YouTube, Aaron Abke, and he does a really good job where he shortens videos and breaks it all down so you can understand it better, because it's this material. Basically, the more you read it, some of it you'll understand and some of it you won't, until your consciousness is awakened enough to understand it and comprehend it. So first, I want to begin with this note, right? So throughout my stuff, guys, you know that I'm a Christian and I'm a very spiritual person, and my primary programming is Christian based. Today, what I'll talk about may clash with people, especially if you have a traditional religious outlook on life, because traditional religion doesn't believe in what I'm about to discuss today. So always take what resonates with you and then discard the rest. Like I said, if like you're listening to this and you don't want to, if it doesn't resonate, then flip the channel, turn the channel. So if you're a person who seeks knowledge, I'll recommend the raw material. I'm a person, I love knowledge. And through my path and enlightenment or seeking out spiritual truths or knowledge, I discovered that there's a lot of insights and wisdom to be gained and learning from this material. You don't have to believe in everything. You just take what resonates. You can learn a lot from other religions, so to speak, as well. I took world religion in college, and there was so much that I learned. People, especially Christians, like, you shouldn't talk about this. It goes against. There's wisdom and knowledge in every faith. You don't necessarily have to believe in that religion, but you can learn the life lessons that they teach. So if you're seeking enlightenment or higher understanding, it's important to do your own research and discover the truth for yourself. Discover the truth for yourself. You know, what is the book of Revelations about? Like, some in Christian faith, it's apocalyptic event that ends the world. You can also look at Revelations is to enlighten. Maybe it's the book of Revelation is not an apocalyptic event, but it's an event where humanity begins to awaken to their soul's truth. Revelation to how you say it, you have a revelation to yourself, basically, when you have that insight or the intuitive knowing or that awakening process is revealed to you. And maybe that's what book of Revelation is a revealing. And maybe it's to show that at some point in time, all humans on this planet will awaken to their divine self. So, the raw material is a channeled message. So, there's a group of people back in the day who basically channeled a message from a higher density being who called himself Ra. Now, you may say channeling is evil or witchcraft. People say many negative things about it, especially if you align with traditional religious beliefs. It's channeling. Oh, that's metaphysical nonsense. Because some people, when they hear the word channeling, or you channeled a message, that's evil, and it goes against everything they believe in, and they instantly shut it down. First, I want to point out that everybody channels. Channeling is one of our spiritual gifts, and when you begin to awaken, you'll understand this. In Christianity, people talk about being guided by the Holy Spirit. Well, to sum it up, if you're guided by the Holy Spirit, you're channeling the Holy Spirit within you. You're tapping into that. You're plugging into that. You're tuning into that radio station. You can look at that as that's what channeling is. It's you turning the dial, like your body or your mind your consciousness is an antenna that is tuning in or picking up on different radio stations or different frequencies. You're channeling. You're switching channels. And basically, certain people are switching when they're channeling the Holy Spirit. They're switching to that station. So in Christianity, when people talk about, hey, I'm called by the Holy Spirit, they're channeling the Holy Spirit. You're tapping into the Holy Spirit. I'm capable of this. You're capable of this. It's all when you awaken to enough to be able to do that. And when a person listens to their gut feeling, when they listen to their intuition, that is a form of channeling. You're channeling your higher self, your divine self. You're switching your radio station to listen to your soul's truth. You're listening to your soul. You're tapping into that. So if you're exploring the idea of channeling, it is a very important to understand where the channeled message or what message you're picking up, where is it coming from? It is very dangerous if you try channeling and you don't know what you're doing. There are what you call evil or negative entities that you may plug your consciousness into, or you might tap into, or if you don't know what you're doing, you might open yourself up to negative entities. But in Christianity, we call that demons, or we call that demonic possession. When you drop your guard down and you open the door for things to influence you. So if you're interested in channeling, it's important to learn spiritual protection. Always pray to God or Archangel Michael or Jesus for protection. And then there's if you do your research, guys, there's tons of, I think even on my channel, I have I talk about spiritual protection. And if I don't, in one of my books, I think it's Hidden Knowledge, Path to, or Hidden Knowledge Gained Insight. There's a chapter about spiritual protection in that book. So it's always important. Even if you don't channel, it's always important to put on the full armor of God, the full gospel armor, spiritual protection, protect yourself, because we are bombarded by negative influences and positive influence daily. So learn spiritual protection. You only want to receive messages or tap into loving and positive entities. Those positive entities you could call them in Christianity angels, Jesus, the Holy Spirit. So this world is not just the 3D. We always hear that we're in the 3D. There's a physical world and there's the non-physical world, the world around us that we can't see because our eyes can only pick up on a narrow bandwidth of light. And there's light and energies and things that are vibrating at different frequency outside of our perspective. So there's a non-physical world, and in this, and the sorry guys, I'm reading off a script to kind of know where I go off of, and then I'm also freestyling a little bit. You know, in the book of Ephesians, it talks about this world is not of flesh and blood, but of principalities and wickedness and evil in high places. There's a spiritual battle going on, guys. That is why there's all the everything's so corrupt. And when you begin to awaken, you see the corruption in this world. Everything you look at, that when you go on the internet, it's corrupted. The movies and the radios and the music videos and stuff, it's corrupted with lower nature energies. Your food, your water, poisonous, because it's all designed to keep you in a lower vibrational state, in a lower consciousness. In a lower consciousness. Your vision or your awareness is like this. You don't know what's going on. But when you begin to awaken, you expand, you raise your vibration, you raise your consciousness, you raise your awareness. I'll talk about the movie The Matrix, and maybe one day I'll dive deeper on it, but that movie's more like a documentary. We are all Neo, so to speak. What's that whole movie about? It's about a person who's locked into a three-dimensional world, and for his perceptions is like this, but then something in him wants to explore, change his perception and learn more, and because he knows his soul's calling, there's higher truths out there, so he starts exploring, and then he discovers that his reality is not what it really is, and that it's everything his perception, his mind, his consciousness has been being controlled and manipulated, and everybody around him, their mind and consciousness has been controlled and manipulated. And Neo learns to break free from it and becomes basically like a god. And he's able to fly, and he could see the computer code, and he could change it at will. And that's basically, if you look at the war that's going on in this planet, they don't want us to become the Neos of our life. They want us plugged into just this narrow bandwidth of perception. And my goal as a spiritual teacher is to help you expand your awareness, question your reality. You ever ask yourself why certain things are like this, or why certain things are like that? It's a war out for your mind. Why are we bombarded by materialism? Why are we bombarded by idolizing people? Why are we bombarded by drugs and alcohol? And it's all to keep us in a lower state. Why are we in debt slavery? Why we work 40, 50 hours a week and we just make enough to survive? Because you got to realize the game of life is rigged. And once you learn how to play the game of life, you become the masters of your world, and you could change the game. You can look at it as this is a simulation. It's a game. And at first we are just going about not knowing how to play the game, and we're stuck to these rules. But then we find that back door into the game programming, and like a cheat code, and we can start doing more cool stuff. And that's what awakening is. Discovering your divine self is that we are magnificent human beings. We are divine. We come from Source, the Creator. We were created in God's image, guys. And when you learn to tap into your divine self and awaken, there's so much more to this body, guys. Think about it, how amazing. You cut your finger, so to speak, and it instantly heals itself. So just know there's so much that we don't know, and that's when you learn to awaken. And obviously I got stuff on this channel about awakening and stuff. you can learn how we are able to do psychic abilities. We're able to uh, speak with our minds, telepathy, telekinesis. All that stuff is plausible, but those gifts don't awaken inside you until you're consciously um, able to handle them. Like I state in, if you give your teenager Superman powers and they're not mature or conscious, they could run havoc. So like basically, Spirit of God doesn't allow you to have those gifts until you work with the ego mind. So you're not using those gifts for destructive purposes. Because if you, or in your lower nature, if you had strength, like He-Man's strength, and you were in your lower nature, you could hurt people. So on a subconscious level, those gifts won't awaken in you, or you won't awaken to higher states of conscious awareness, or your gifts won't develop until you're ready to handle them in a constructive, positive way and use them in a good way. So that was my little tangent. So basically, there's a battle, guys. If you begin to awaken, there's a battle for your hearts and minds. Not only on the physical level, but on the spiritual level as well. So you could say that human beings were created in God's image, and that in our DNA and in our bodies we have dormant abilities, and that is one part of the awakening process, is learning that you're divine, and discovering your gifts, because we are all gifted. We all have certain talents and reasons why we're here on this earth, but we've been so distracted by the matrix or by all the things that are thrown at us, because we're constantly in survival, trauma, and fear mode, because everything that they throw at us, this world, is trauma and survival instincts and fear. That's lower nature energies. When you allow external factors to affect you, meaning a person says something to you and then you get all upset, mad, angry. When something bad happens to you at your work and you're just frustrated, and then you gotta learn to not allow external factors, whatever they may be, maybe it's materialism, relationships, other people, movies, whatever that's being thrown at you, to affect your state of beingness. You are divine. You are in control of you. So if you stay centered in your power, nothing could affect you, so to speak. And you gotta be conscious of it. Like, if you begin to get upset because someone said something bad to you, or someone did something, it's like, why is this person affecting me? Why am I allowing them to upset me? You gotta learn to master yourself, mind, emotions, and body, you know? So I want to talk about like the movie Star Wars, guys, because analyzing the movies, they throw hidden, like, so the dark controllers of this world, they fear the law of karma. So they put out in the movies and songs the hidden knowledge or truths, and that way we are consenting to it without consenting to it. And they put it right, plain as day. When you begin to awaken and see with your spiritual eyes and hear with your spiritual ears, you'll start seeing through things and seeing things differently. So in the movie The Star Wars, there's the Force. Every being, even you, can tap into the Force. The Force is real. The Force can be called source consciousness, that we're guided by every day by the Force. You can use your consciousness or spiritual awareness either for the dark or for the light. So like I say, guys, in Star Wars, there's a lot of hidden truths. Everybody has the ability to be the Jedi. What is a Jedi? Like you can look at Master Yoda, like he's the all-powerful Jedi. Well, you can become the Jedi of your life. And that is learning self-mastery, to master your body, your mind, and emotions. And when you become the master of your life, you become basically the programmer of your life, and you could change how your life is. Your thoughts, actions, and deeds control affect your life. And it's up to you. Do you still want to be in your lower nature and just be plugged in that matrix and just be on survival, fear, be in lack, be miserable, sad, unhappy? It's all a state of consciousness. You just choose to, instead of being unhappy and depressed and anxiety, you could switch your consciousness over. Just like that. You switch your thinking, switch your feeling into, I am happy, I am abundant, I am prosperous. And it's not only you switch your thinking, but you switch your actions, the deeds that you do in this world. It's like a game. And let's say you keep losing at that level. Maybe it's because you're doing something wrong. Maybe it's the game of life. You're thinking in fear-based thoughts. You're thinking a lot and lack thoughts, and you're reacting out of those thoughts. Where you switch it and you get, oh, I'm going to change how I play this game, and I'm going to act out of love. I'm going to think positive. I'm going to do positive deeds, and it changes that game, and you might pass that level. Because that's what we are. We're leveling up our consciousness, our awareness. So everybody has the ability to be the Jedi. So what do you want to be, guys? Do you want to become the masters of your life? And becoming a master of your life is taking accountability, because in some shape or form, you created everything around you to an extent. So recreate your surroundings, recreate your reality. So everyone could be the Jedi, right? So that means everybody could be a Luke Skywalker. Everyone could be that Neo. Like when I started learning this, guys, like I started learning to master my life, and I could literally change my reality, or by doing certain things differently, or how I think about things. It's kind of like mind-blowing. So it's up to you. You know, if you want to become that Luke Skywalker or that Neo in the Matrix, it's up to you what you want to use your gifts or your abilities for. There's the dark side of the Force and the light side of the Force. The dark side of the Force is your ego mind. It's your uncontrolled mind. It's allowing. So in my book, Hidden Knowledge, Gain Wisdom, I have a chapter called Gnosticism, Know Thyself. And it's all about learning what the ego mind is, and learning to not allow your ego mind to control your life. You know, I use the analogy in the book. When you're angry, you allow that anger thought or feeling to take control of your steering wheel of your car, and now now you do stuff because you're angry. And you gotta realize, in Gnosticism or Know Thyself, when that thought comes to your mind, I'm angry, and you kick it out of your mind and be like, hey, I'm not going to let that anger control me. And you allow only your higher self, your loving self, to steer your car. And the outcomes in your life change differently. So if you choose the dark side of the Force, that's your ego mind. You only do things to benefit yourself. When you're in the ego state, you tend to do things to benefit yourself. You allow your anger, you allow your greed, you allow your lust, you allow your envy, you allow your temptations, and the list goes on and on. I call it your lower nature. And you allow you're in your lower nature to guide your life. You're in that lower energy state, lower frequency, lower consciousness, lower awareness, and that's what's guiding your ship on the course of life. And you'll constantly have lower energies attract lower energies. So if you're in your lower nature and you're doing stuff, you're going to attract lower nature situations. Then that goes for relationships, that goes for jobs, it goes for all types of things, guys. If you really want to master your life, you got to become the Luke Skywalker, that Neo, and you got to raise your consciousness. You got to switch your thinking from constantly being run by fear and the ego mind, lack, lust, greed, temptations and stuff. Change all that. remove those programs and replace them with positivity and love. Like the good side of the force, or the light, like you need to, Luke, you need to follow the good force, or the light of the force. Well, that light side of the force is allowing your higher self, your divine self, the Holy Spirit, or your intuition to guide your life. You tend to do things that benefit others. So the good force does good things, because Jesus talks about it in the Bible. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Because when you play the game of life, you realize that we are all one and we're all connected. So by you doing good deeds or loving deeds, it comes back to you, and you're basically helping yourself and doing good to yourself. And that's why I want to talk about the law of one material, because basically in the law of one material, it's the service to self and service to others. And it talks about, basically in that material, about positive oriented beings or entities and negative oriented beings or entities. And you can look at them as angels or demons. It's all, and like the demonic or evil or negative entities are guided by service to self. They don't have empathy. They don't care if they hurt people. They don't care. They can't put themselves in other people's shoes and be like, hey, if I do this and this, it's going to hurt someone, so I'm not going to do it. They don't care if they hurt you, so they're just going to do it anyway. They're the psychopaths of this world. They're the ones who know that you're broke, and they steal your last $20, and they don't care because they're out. They're also the ones who, in relationships, those lovers or those narcissists who really they're with you because they're gaining something, but the minute they don't need you anymore, they discard you because it's service to self. They're guided by the dark side of the force. They're in their lower nature, lower consciousness. And in the law of one material, it talks about beings that are service to others, who have empathy. So they before they do something, they think about how it'll affect somebody. They always try to do things for others, because in the end, if you help others, you're helping yourself. And you can look at angels and demons, and humans are, when we're tapped into the force, are we guided by the dark side of the force or the light side of the force? Light side of the force is service to others. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to help others, because by helping you guys, it's really helping me. Doing good, and isn't it amazing? So there was I was watching a podcast, and one of the guys said, you can't walk back being kind. I'm going to repeat that. You can't walk back being kind. And what does that mean? You don't have to explain yourself if you're kind. Now, if you're angry or you do something deceitful or you manipulate someone, and you hurt somebody, you have to walk that back. But yeah, it's hard to be kind, but why not be kind every day? Why not be loving every day? And like I say, and through all my stuff, you attract to you what you are. So if you're kind every day, you're loving every day, you choose to be in the force or the light side of the force every day, you attract that back to you. You attract lights, angelic beings, basically. And in the raw material, it talks about that there's different dimensions. We're in the third dimension, and there's the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth, and 10th, and I think it's the 12th dimension. And outside of our perspective, there's entities, negative beings, angels, demons, that are constantly influencing us. And if you're unaware of it, your life can go drastically wrong or drastically good. It all depends what you're choosing in your life. So it's up to you what you want to be guided by, guys. Seriously, it's what do you choose? The reason I do these videos is because I also want to reach those who are lost, the ones who didn't realize that they were not being empathetic, the ones who realize, to awaken them to, like, hey, I was manipulative, I was being angry, I was being judgmental, I was hurting other people, I was being selfish, service to self. And all it takes is, like, in the law of one material, it talks about you have to be 51% of service to others to raise your, to be basically to join the good side. We all have shadow aspects of ourselves. And it's about balancing, and learning to change oneself, to look within. And you could allow the darkness or the corruption to take root in you, allow yourself to be influenced by negative entities, demonic forces, demonic thinking, negative thinking, ego mind, or you can allow yourself to be influenced by angelic light, positive thinking, being guided by the Holy Spirit or your divine self. And one of the things is, in the spiritual journey, you can't force no one to do anything. It's free will. So, like, basically in the law of one material, it states, Ra talks about that God created this universe, and he actually created multiple universes. There's more than one universe than just the Milky Way. And that there's life forms everywhere. And one of the things, like, there's three primary energies that God created first before we were created, and that was free will, love, and hold on, I'm trying to hold me and light. So it's free will, love, and light, and everything you see, every material or everything that's created is formed off of those primary energies. Because if you look at it, I'm a form of light. I'm an energy. Everything around you is energy. It's not, if we study quantum physics, they'll explain it. And then there's light that we don't see, because but you can start to see things, feel things when you begin to awaken your awareness, your consciousness. And that's the coolest thing when I talk about if you choose the light side of the force, guys. Yeah, in the movie, Darth Vader was powerful. But who was more powerful? In the end, it was Luke, because the light, goodness, love always conquers darkness. Positivity always trumps negativity. Positivity always trumps negativity, guys. And that's what in Law 1 it states that we are basically fractals upon fractals of fractals, and God created us in his image. So we all come from source and God, and that's one of the things of awakening to your higher self, is to learn to awaken to the divinity you are. Meaning, we don't realize how powerful we really are. You're one thought away from changing your reality, changing your life forever. And it just, guys, I'm not an expert in this stuff, guys. Sometimes I let my soul speak. I wrote a whole thing and I'm kind of ignoring it, and I'm just speaking to you. Because, hold on, guys. I'm scanning something real quick. So I'll just bring up this, like when I was talking about being a fractal of God, or God created himself and split himself off into more, so he could experience, the creator source could experience duality. And that's why there's duality in everything. There wouldn't be evil if there was just good. So there has to be both. And so in the law of one, basically, the raw material, it talks about how we are all one. We are all created from God. And how to sum that all up, guys. Think about it. As within, so without. So that just as your world is around you, just as the universe is outside of you, there's a universe within you. Not only is your human body, or you, an intelligent divine being, but think about it, there's 1 billion cells in your body. And all those cells have life to themselves. They all have an intelligence to themselves. They all do certain tasks in your body to create this meat suit. So if you look at, and so like basically, like, imagine all the world with all the people on it. Well, imagine looking at your cell. The cells in your body are a whole bunch of people, and the world is your body, is the body. We are all one, and when you learn to tap into that divineness and learn to connect to that, you can start um, changing everything around you guys. So basically, even David Wilcock, he's more talks about extraterrestrials. What is extraterrestrial? It means extra territory. Now, do I believe in aliens? I think there may be some truth to that. And people may be like, oh, especially if you're Christian, that's evil or demonic. But when you begin to awaken and you see through this illusion of this world, you see through the distortions, you'll start to see some things that have been hidden from you. And it's up to you guys to empower yourself. Because a lot of people are not they're not conscious. They're plugged into the matrix and they're just going through a repetitive cycle. Monday through Friday, they go to that work routine. And on the weekends, they just rest and relax. And then they repeat the cycle. And it's a loop, it's a cycle replaying. And at any moment, you could be like, I choose to break my cycle. I could create a new cycle over here. And one of the things, if you guys are interested in to be the Jedi of your life, to become the master Yoda of your life, you have to learn self-mastery. Meaning, filter every thought that comes into your mind. Every word you speak, you don't say it unless it's, for me, that's what I do, guys. I don't just speak out and let it just spill out, because you're speaking, your words are powerful. I have the power with my words to destroy somebody or hurt somebody's emotions, or I have a power through my speaking to uplift and inspire. So be mindful of what you say every day. And it takes time, guys. It takes time to be mindful of every thought and feeling you have. And to begin to filter it through, for me, it's through, I'm guided by my spirit, the Holy Spirit, or my higher self. And I only choose positive thinking and positive thoughts. Now, obviously, guys, this world is tough. So sometimes, you'll watch something and then it puts, like maybe you're watching something, a movie, and it might put that lustful thought into your mind because it's, and then you got to learn to kick it out. Hey, I'm not going to be controlled by that impulse. Or it could be like, maybe you're an addict, you drink a lot and you're trying to overcome that. And then you do good, and then you see that somebody in a movie scene drinking a lot, and then it triggers you with that thought into your mind, and now you're craving alcohol. And then your lower nature, your ego, takes over your body, and then you go out and buy a drink, and then you lose all that time that you spent not drinking, and you have to start all over again. It's self-mastery. So master your thoughts. Seriously, it's one of the things that I learned is you got to master this. Because basically, if you look at it, everything around you is a hologram. And all it is your eyes are picking up on light, fractals of light. And then it's interpreting that light inside your mind, like, because you're looking at it as a projector, and your mind is absorbing all those light codes and then creating it all into your world. And once you begin to master that, you can start changing everything around you. So filter out, and then also your emotions. Emotions is energy and motion. So what you think, feel, you become. And if you stay in your lower nature, your lower vibrational state, that's what you're going to attract around you guys. The law of one material, it also talks about, there's certain information in it that talks about awakening, and they call it like the 7 rays. And certain beings are in their certain rays. So a lot of people that you meet who are in their lower nature, lower consciousness, are a lot of times they're in the red ray. The Ra would say it's the red ray. It's the root chakra, because throughout ancient history they talk about chakras, and spiral wheels of energy. You have 7 energy points, and some say there's even more in your body. The red ray deals with fear, survival, and like in the law of one material, it talks about if certain entities come from a different ray, like Jesus came from the fifth ray, the heart chakra, fifth density, I believe. I'm not an expert in this, guy, so don't tear my head off if I get things wrong. So, like for me, I try to meditate daily, and I activate all my chakras, and then I realize what energy source am I coming from? Am I in my lower nature, that survival, that root chakra? And I learn to control myself. And then when I learn to control myself, I control the world around me. And, I'm not only mindful of my thoughts and my words, I'm mindful of every conversation or a person that I come across. Every time they speak to me, what nature are they coming at me? And I don't judge them because some people are don't know any better. But if they have any negative influences on me, or try to bring me to my lower nature, or bring me into a lower state of consciousness, I just choose to be like, nope, I'm choose not to be around that person. And that's also anything that you absorb into you, because what you consume consumes you. So if you're always in the bar life or the club life, you that toxic energy will takes over your life. I've seen it over the years ruin people's lives because they always choose to go into that environment. So you have to be mindful of your environment. You got to just always be conscious. And that's not just conscious of what you think and feel, every thought and word that comes into your mind, but it's conscious and aware of every movie that you watch, every song that you hear. And then, because then when you become the programmer of your life, and you start like, I know this is lower consciousness. Because guys, I used to love rap music back in the day. Now I could barely, I don't like it as much because it's all like lower nature stuff, drugs, boom boom, I'm a drug dealer, blah blah blah, and that's just and people who resonate with that, they resonating with that because that's a lower nature energy. But when you begin to awaken, you're like, hey, I don't resonate to this song anymore. When rappers start rapping about how treating women inappropriately is good, come on, guys, use your consciousness. And it's all programming because they want the lower generation to stay in the lower nature, and then our youth is learning that they listening to that music and they think this behavior is good. So they allow maybe your daughter or son enter into a relationship and are treated poorly because that's what they listen to. And so I choose to listen to only positive, uplifting music where people are speaking from their heart, who are sharing inspirational stuff. And when you begin to awaken on this journey, you can learn to, for me, when I turn on the radio, and if it's any like negative anything, I just turn the channel. Like I talked about, you are a channel. You could, becoming the Jedi of your life, you could switch the channel. You could switch the situations in your life. All about being conscious. If you know that you may enter into a relationship with somebody who's bad for you, or enter into an environment that is bad for you, you could choose to change the channel. You could choose to, like, as you're walking, if you're conscious of it, be like, something doesn't feel right here. And you just be like, nope, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to pursue this relationship. I'm not going to walk into this environment. And I'm going to choose a positive relationship. I'm going to choose a positive environment. And I hope, and then when you become, because I share this, guys, because I want to help those souls out there who don't or who are unconscious of what they're doing. They're unconscious that their actions or how they treat people affect the world around you. There's in my first book, Hidden Knowledge, Path, or Hidden Knowledge Gained Wisdom. There's a chapter all about the universal laws. And there's universal laws that govern everything, and there's one of the laws is cause and effect. That everything that you do has a ripple effect. If you do things out of negativity or out of ego or out of service to self, it has a ripple effect. If you hurt people, because hurt people, if you hurt people, then you're going to be hurt. If you're always doing negative things, then negative things are going to come to you. Law of cause and effect. But if you switch it, if you're loving, you're compassionate, you're empathetic, also you were in your service to self and you switch, you're aligned to the service to others, then you got to ask for forgiveness, you got to apologize, you got to make amends. And it's all your perspective, guys. So I want you guys to check out the law of one material, because even in the book of Corinthians, it talks about, that our bodies is a temple and that we're all connected. Like if the hand were to sin, then you got cut off the arm. I don't know, that you got to realize that everything is intelligence. Everything comes from source consciousness. The birds, the trees. Be mindful of that. Your pets that you take care of. If you treat your pet poorly, if you don't give it, you take on the responsibility as a pet owner, and you don't love your pet, if you mistreat your pet or abandon your pet, guess what's going to, in the universe, everything's energy in the universe. Hey guys, so I was interrupted while I was recording, but so I just want to sum up this video with this. You have the power to be the Jedi of your life. In my first book, I talk about, they say that you only use 15% of your mind, and that the rest is dormant brain power. But what happens if you unlock your mind? You could tap into the full 100% of your body and your mind. What happens when you awaken all your dormant strands of DNA? What happens when you become the Jedi, when you become the Master Yoda of your life? So I recommend checking out the Law of One material, the Book of Ra, or it goes by many titles, and do your own research. Empower yourself and be mindful of everything you do, because it could come back as goodness in your life, or it could come back as negativeness in your life. Do you choose the dark side of the force, or do you choose the light side of the force? And you can't force anybody, guys. That's one of the most important things. Everyone has free will. You can't force anyone to do anything. You have to make that choice yourself, and you gotta let them choose for themselves. God bless you all. I hope you and wish you all the best. And always trust your inner knowing. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. Thank you.